Welcome back. Found out it was just a remnant from last spring when we were doing some experimentation, and this is why when you start playing around with the ones that come with the textbook, either keep a fresh copy of them or save off your version you're going to be working with into your actual weekly folder. That way then whatever you make edits to doesn't sit there and cause problems like it did for me just a moment ago. And I even remember the exact conversation we were having on it. So without that, let's actually give this a tune to play. So you'll notice we really haven't done that much yet, but just the couple elements that we're adding this week really enhance the pieces of music and give you a lot of musical power. And so you'll see up at the top on line 7, here again, actually first let me put this comment up here so that way then I have the fact that we are editing this January 11th, 2021. And save it right off the bat. So we do have the tempo, and it is set to 105, so it's just a little bit faster than what the default is, and I'll let you find out what the default is when you do the readings within the chapter. Definitely important to know what the default pace is. Then you'll notice right here, this is what's different. Instead of one note, so like here we have the A4 and then a comma and then G4 and a comma, we're using our square angled brackets again. So we have the original square angled bracket, which we did when we were actually adding our list, and then we have that closing one. And notice when I click on one, it highlights the other one, which is really nice. So you find your pairs. So here again, I click on this and it shows me that my pair is right here. When you're doing chords, what we have found is don't put spaces in there. So put it all together, and that way then we know what our 3 notes are that we're playing together, and it helps us identify that. So like here, it's by having that spread out, it doesn't make it quite as obvious that this is a chord, and this is part of where we were experimenting with some of this and trying to find ways to make our code more readable. And then once again, we have found that it helps to line up our code. So especially when we're ending up with 2 lines of pitches or durations, we have found it especially helpful to keep them kind of offset just a little, even just a space like this. And then watch that you have for each chord, you have a duration that matches it. And so now this one needs to come back just a little bit and going there, and then this one needs to bump just a little. Then this one gets bumped to stay consistent with that chord. This one needs to come back just a little. And then here we have some notes that go with that. And then this one needs a space. So now we've got this all nice and clean. And then we are actually, this was some of our remnant of what we were playing around with as well. Nope, it's not. I'm sorry. This is actually our pitch 2 that is added for section 2 here. So you'll see we have pitch 1 and then pitch or duration 1, pitch 2, and then duration 2. And for the pitch 2 and duration 2, it's just a single note for each of those. And so here again, if we just play this, you're listening, and there you can hear those chords right off the bat. The key thing will be just practicing with that. So if you have questions once again with chords, please reach out and bring them up in our class sessions as well. Moving right along, now that we've got multiple pieces, we're playing multiple notes at once, we've got notes all just playing one after the next. Now we need to actually add multiple parts to our music, because very few songs have just one line of music. Often there's multiple things happening. If you're at an orchestra or at a band performance or at a concert, you have all these different people playing different instruments. We can do that same thing. What we do is we set up our parts. So if I'm going to have a clarinet and a saxophone and a piano, each of them would get their own MIDI channel is what we would actually do. There are multiple channels. There's 15 in all, well 16 technically because we start at 0 that we work with. However, channel 9 is reserved for percussion, and we'll get into that next week, I believe it is. So this week we're really just focusing on transcription yet, and then we'll get to some of those more advanced elements as we go into next week. So with that, and I'll let you read through that a bit more. So with this, we have our part. So in this example, I'm going to have a flute, and I am putting that flute on the first one. We want to designate them on different parts, or each part on a different channel, to ensure that they don't conflict along the way. For our musical pieces, at least for this first part, you are pretty good even if you were to put them on the same channel, but train yourself to start using the different channels as we go. So here again we're creating, just like we did for the phrase, we'll actually create a name for it. We're going to use the library part, which is coming directly, and it's got all those instructions. It's then looking for the name or a description for it, and then what your instrument is, and then designate its channel. And that all gets broken down here with its different options. So let's go, and here you've got some other settings then. So we actually add our phrase to the part. And so instead of adding it to our phrase, well, it is the same thing, but we're adding it to the part instead. And so there's a hierarchy that we're going to get to here in just a second, right here. So we start with our note, which is the smallest piece that we can play. Then we add the phrase, so that's going to be multiple notes together. Then our part, and our part can be multiple phrases because we have multiple parts. And then our parts come together into a score, which we'll end at the end of this video with. So here again, here is then our score, which works just the same as our part. We're using the score option here. We name it again, so that typically is going to be what the name of the piece of music is. And then we actually do a tempo. So we have the title and then the tempo. And if it's the default tempo, you don't have to put that there. You could train yourself to start putting that in if you want, totally up to you. But keep in mind, whatever you put at the score level, everything that goes into your score, which is you only have one score per piece, all of that goes in at that one pace. So let's go take a look at one of the samples here that we have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up. Let's go back to the original textbook stuff. Scroll down to the bottom, and we want Smoke on the, here we go, Deep Purple. This one here, let me play it first. Notice we started with the guitar part, now we just added in the electric bass, and soon there'll actually be a drum coming in. And here we have the drum. So let me turn this down, whoops, let me turn this down just a little bit and let it play in the background. So the first guitar phrase came in right at the beginning, so at 0.0. At beat 32.0, the next one came in. Then we ended up with the bass phrase at 64. We can bring that down a little bit more. And then we had a drum phrase at 96.0. And now you're hearing a snare come in as well. So there's multiple percussion coming into this. So let's walk our way through this, and I really want you to dig into this as well and look at some of the other examples that are in the folder that's provided as well for some of these. So our score is, we have one score because that is, let me go back to the whoops, going forward instead of backwards. Here we go. So we have one score because that's the overarching thing. It all gets put together into that. We then have three different parts. We have a guitar part, a bass part, and a drum part. And you want to be descriptive when you're naming them. And we've also found it to be extremely helpful to actually put the part versus phrase, because down here then we actually add the phrases so that you're differentiating that, especially as we get to some of these advanced pieces of music. And so for our part, we are setting that to the overdrive underscore guitar, and we're putting that in MIDI channel 0. Then we have our bass part, and we are doing that at the electric bass, and we're putting that in MIDI channel 1. Then we would have to go back to the instrument list, but the drums are numeric often, and that's why we then note over here that we're adding our percussion, and we do that on with the part 0, and we put it on channel 9. Once we're in here, you'll see then we have our phrases, so we're creating that, and we are able to tell it where to start. But then the guitar, it's the same as what we've been doing. So we've got our guitar pitches and our durations, and then we add that. This is a different organizational structure. In the previous programs, we did all of our pitches, duration, pitches, durations, pitches, durations, and then down underneath that, we did our add note list. This is an alternative approach to doing it. Definitely hang on to it for now. Stick with, for our project 1, stick with where we do it all clumped together, use white space to separate. And then when you get to your own project, you'll be able to actually make the decision as to whether you're going to follow something like this. And it will take some experimentation because there are benefits and disadvantages to both situations. Underneath that then, so I've added my note list. Then I've gone into here and I'm doing my guitar phrase and my add my note list. And then this mod we'll get into later on, so skip that for now. And then down here is where we're actually getting into our drum pitches and durations. And again, so just don't worry about that for now. We'll come back to that later. Same thing with these modifications. So it's really only 67 lines of code, not that much for especially something as advanced as this piece of music. So familiarize yourself with the code that we have learned and just start looking at different examples that are out here. As I've mentioned in a couple other videos, this course is a lot about playing and about just doing. So grab a piece of music and try it out. See what you can do with it. I will definitely be posting more sheets of music for you to experiment with and play around with, because the more you practice, the better you're going to become at this. So with that, we've got the score, talked through that. How these all come together, just we have that circular graphic, but now you'll see we have the actual part, and notice how we can have multiple phrases going within our part, and then we've got some notes. So this really, and it's explained in depth in the textbook, so if you find chapter 3's figure 2, go in there and take a look at that and do some reading on it, and just for right now, know that we have multiple things happening at once. That's where I want you to be right now. Autumn leaves, let's take a look at this. This is another good example where you've got multiple parts and we bring it into the score. Where is it? Autumn leaves, here we go. Autumn leaves, so let me play it first. So here again, we've imported our music. Then we have created a score. So we've named it something descriptive when we ended with the word score. We've set the title for it, and then also our beats per minute. Then we have our 3 parts. We have a trumpet, we have the vibes, and we've got the bass. And so we set each of those accordingly, and notice how they're all in different channels. Then we create our melody, our chord, and our bass, and we go from there. We then add in our pitch, for our melody, pitches and durations, and then in this case as well, they've also added to the note list from there. Then in the chord section, they've pulled that all together where we've got the chord pitches, and then we also have the chord durations, and then they've added that all to the chord phrase. So everything has been separated out for the chords. Then we have the bass lines. So here again, pitch, duration. This time they actually have multiple durations attached to that for different reasons, because you bring them in at different times. And then here we have another pitch and going. So you're going to see there's not one way of doing this. As you look at your piece of music, you'll figure out what way is going to work best. For now, just stay with the consistency of what we've worked with and just get it to work like that. And then as you become comfortable, it will evolve and develop from there. Let's see. So that is the autumn piece, the autumn leaves piece. Some notation elements. You know what? We're going to stop with that right now, and I'm going to bump this to the next set of videos because I want us to actually go into our sheet music and start playing around a little bit. So let's stop here